What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for another review of Porsha's Family Matters season finale. So we made it to the very end of this little spinoff, and I'll talk about my feelings, my overall feelings of Porsha and some of the characters on the show at the very end. So we start this episode where we left off in the previous episode. So Dennis has come over to drop off little Pilar back to Porsha's home. And when he drops her off, the tension between them is like extremely, extremely thick. And Porsha even invites him inside her home, and he refuses to do that. He just wants to stay on the doorstep. Porsha says in her confessional that her relationship with Dennis now has turned into the relationship that she had, the relationship that her parents had with each other, where her mother would never step outside whenever her father would come and pick her up and drop her off for visitation. She would always stay right there at the door and would never go to greet the dad or go talk to the dad. And so now she feels like her relationship with Dennis is very much similar to that. They talk about Pilar's her upcoming surgery, because the baby has to have her tonsils and her adenoids removed. So they talk about that. And then after that, he leaves, and that's the end of that. So moving on to and one other thing that Porsha had said in her confessional was that, well, this is just how it is. She says, when it all hit the fan, this is what they're left with, and so this is how it has to be. It's like she's coming to terms with that she will never get this, this ideal blended family thing that she had in her mind. That's just never going to come to pass. Moving on. Excuse me. Lauren meets with Aunt Liz. So I guess Lauren felt a little bit defeated about how the Mexico trip went. She felt like she could have done better, that things could obviously have gone a whole lot better with the whole the blending of Porsha's mother's side, Porsha's father's side, and Dennis into this one big happy family. And Aunt Liz tries to uplift her, tries to make her feel a little bit better about herself, and said that, she did a great job. She did the best that she could with what she had to work with, because she had a lot to work with. She had so many different personalities, so many different issues and sub-issues and sub-issues with all these people. Lauren did the best that she could. So Aunt Liz, definitely wants Lauren to feel better about herself. And she said, she gave it the good old college try, and, we can't expect anything more out of it. Now, Aunt Liz said that there were some success stories of the Mexico trip, and to Aunt Liz, the success stories were, number one, Mama Gina, Dennis's mother, because Mama Gina had come to she had come to that realization where she said she wanted to let go of not being able to forgive people. And success story number two from the trip to Mexico was Dennis, when he said that he wanted to let go of stuff that just really were not important to him. And I was thinking to myself, of course, Aunt Liz would think that Mama Gina and Dennis were the success stories, because she's, affiliated with them. She really, really likes her some Mama Gina and Dennis. And I think it's because on the trip, Aunt Liz and Mama Gina bonded as being, two of the more elderly people on the trip. So they really bonded with each other. And of course, if she's gonna accept Mama Gina, she obviously accepts and loves Dennis as well. So she's all team Dennis and team Mama Gina. So moving on, the day of Pilar's surgery. So Porsha and Dennis, of course, her being her parents, they were allowed to stay with her in her room. And I think they had to stay there 2 days. And it was, it was tight. It really wasn't the most comfortable thing, but, they made it work. They were very civil. We didn't see a lot of footage. Of course, the only thing that we could see were the little bit of cell phone camera footage that they showed, because obviously production was not allowed to come to the hospital with all the COVID protocols. But we learned later on that, they were very civil with each other. There was no major issues. It seemed like they were just there for Pilar and just to keep it comfortable and keep it happy for their baby, and that's it. Aunt Liz wants to meet with Dennis for lunch. And so they make it happen. And it was I don't know if it was lunch or dinner. I don't know. They went out to eat together. And she calls him and tells him that she wants to meet up with him. And when he was still in the hospital with Pilar, sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. When he was still in the hospital with Pilar, Aunt Liz called him and she says, I'd like to meet with you for us, to spend some time together and, just chop it up. And Dennis was like, sure, fine, no problem. I'll definitely make time for you, Aunt Liz. Porsha and Londi meet. So Londi had there was a couple of issues that she wanted to address with Porsha. She really wanted to talk about Porsha firing her because she was told by Dennis that was it Porsha firing? No, Dennis firing her. She was told by Dennis when they were in Mexico that Porsha had told Dennis to fire Londi. I guess Londi worked as Dennis's either his assistant or she worked in his restaurant. I really wasn't clear, and I kind of forgot in what capacity she worked for Dennis. But she did work for Dennis. And in Mexico, Dennis had told Londi when they were doing the tequila thing, playing the tequila Truth or Dare or something like that, when it was her and Dennis and Dom and Lauren number 2, Porsha's other assistant, Dennis had told Londi, when I fired you, I did it because Porsha told me to. And Lauren, number 2, Porsha's assistant, and Dom, Porsha's assistant and very close friend, they didn't deny it. So, this really sat heavy with Londi. So she couldn't wait to sit down one-on-one and talk to Porsha. But in her confessional, Londi said that she was actually kind of scared to talk to Porsha. Once again, I need to understand, why are people so afraid to talk to Porsha about important things? Everyone always has this feel like, oh my God, we can't let Porsha know. Oh my God, we can't. Every time it's like people are so afraid to talk to Porsha about certain things. As what is she going to do to you? Is she going to kill you? Are you afraid of being cut off from her? And even if she cuts you off, so the hell what? Life goes on. There is life outside of Porsha. So they meet for dinner, and Londi brings Dennis's robe. She has it all crumpled up in her bag, and she's like, guess what I brought for you? And she pulls out the robe, and Porsha's like, I don't want it because, my man Simon told me that I can't have anything of Dennis, anywhere near me. So no, I don't want it. So Londi brings up that Porsha was always taking Storm's side, that she's always on Storm's side no matter what. And she talked about in Mexico when her and Londi and Storm were having some kind of a disagreement at dinner, and Porsha automatically took Storm's side and was trying to tell, Londi either to be quiet or let Storm talk or something to that effect that made Londi feel like, okay, once again, you're taking her side over me. Porsha says to Londi, well, I only did that because she was the one sitting closest to me. And in Londi's confessional, she says, Porsha always likes to play the stupid game because, that answer that she gave was really stupid. And it really was stupid. It was a stupid, childish answer. So, she also said that Porsha is very defensive. When people try to call her out on something or they want to address something about her, she gets really defensive. And then she no longer is listening to you. She's not listening. Londi said in her confessional, Porsha doesn't listen to understand. She listens to basically defend. She's like ready to defend herself. She's not really trying to hear what you're saying and comprehend what you're saying. She's like automatically on the defensive and is just ready to counterattack. So Porsha, she's just as close to Londi as Porsha says that she's just as close. I'm just as close to you as I am to Storm. And I'm like, it really didn't seem like it. If you are, it really didn't seem like it. When this season started, I thought that Londi and Porsha were close. Like in the very first 1 or 2 episodes, I thought that they were really, really tight. But then as the season progressed and I got to see more and more of the episodes, it looked as if, no, they really are not that close at all. Storm and Porsha, to me, had a very superficial relationship. They did appear to be closer, but it only because it seemed like Storm was a brown noser. Like she was just willing. She was like Portia's little lap dog. She was willing to do anything for Porsha. She always agreed with Porsha. She always, held Porsha really high up on, this really high pedestal. So it was like a closeness that was built on one adoring the other. That's it. So Londi says that they could work on getting closer. And Londi also says, Dennis told me that you told him to fire me. Of course, I thought Porsha was going to say, I never said that. But instead, Porsha says, I don't remember saying that. So it made me think that she really did say it. She didn't want to come out and just deny saying it, because who knows what other witnesses were around that could, collaborate or corroborate what Dennis says. So she didn't want to go too far by saying, I never said that. So all she said was, I don't remember saying that, which means that you could have said it, but you just don't remember. And Porsha then, she completely flips out. And she's like, she has this meltdown. Okay, so she starts like blaming Dennis. She was like, I can't believe that, he's just trying to make me look bad, and he's on this thing. I'm trying to make me look bad. And you as my family, you were just so ready to believe anything he had to say. And what does that tell you about, what does that tell me about you, that you were just going to believe whatever he says? So she completely flips the script. So when the heat got too much on her, she reverts it, and she starts, pointing the fingers at Dennis for what he's out to get me, and pointing her finger at Londi, because you're so quick to believe him. And instead of just taking ownership of what she did, I totally 1,000% believe that Porsha did tell Dennis to fire Londi. I don't know why. Oh, we do find out why. So Porsha said that, and Londi said the same thing, that Porsha really didn't care for Londi's professional skills, because she had spilt baby oil or something on one of Porsha's luxury something or other. So Porsha really didn't see it for Londi. Okay, people make mistakes. Overall, as an employee, how bad could she have been? I don't know. Maybe she was really that bad, because it seems like Porsha was always hiring her on the show to, plan all these events. So, excuse me. So she gets all crazy, and then all of a sudden, and then Londi also told her, well, when Dennis said that, Dom and Laura number 2 were there, and they didn't deny it. And they kind of looked like, yeah, that really did happen. So those are the 2 witnesses that were probably around when Porsha told Dennis to fire Londi. And, yeah. So, then Porsha starts, talking about, now she's a victim again. She starts talking about how, no one's ever there for me, because I think Londi says something about how they don't spend enough time together or something. I don't know what she said. But then Porsha, at some point, she was like, no one's ever there for me. Y'all want me to be there for y'all, but y'all never there for me. Then she storms off crying. I don't know what was going on. She storms off crying, and she's just ranting and raving, talking about how she's tired of her family telling her that she's never there for them, and that she doesn't spend enough time with them, and that when she was in this abusive relationship with Cordell, nobody was there for her. Something about Cordell locking her out. I don't know. And so then Londi, I guess she hears all of this, and she starts crying, and then Porsha comes back and she sees Londi crying. And so then she tries to comfort Londi, and so they hug it out. Londi was like really crying, like that real ugly cry. And so Porsha puts her arms around her. She's like, look, I just want us to be family. That's all I really care about. And then in Londi's confessional, she says, you know what? This whole dinner should never have happened. She goes, we need to go back to doing what we normally do, which is just to sweep issues under the rug. And this is why Porsha will never be held accountable for anything. She can get away with murder, because when people put her to the fire, she just, turns it on. So it's someone else's fault. It's never her fault. And then people are just like, okay, Porsha, you're right. Dennis and Aunt Liz finally have their lunch date or their dinner date. And Aunt Liz, she just loves her some Dennis, because, oh, you're such a great dad. You're a good representation of African-American fathers, and you're doing a great job. And on and on and on and on. And so then they talk. Then Dennis says, well, Mama Gina and Porsha, they're still not talking, and there's still some issues there. And then Aunt Liz invites Dennis to some. She's gonna have like an event for. Oh no, it's gonna be the grand opening of the food bank, the Hosea Williams End Hunger Food Bank, I think. So they're gonna have like an event for that. And so she invites Dennis, and Dennis says he's gonna be in Detroit, so he won't be able to make it. When the food came out, y'all, that food looked so good. Aunt Liz had fried fish and grits, I think. And then Dennis had something called the triple or something like that. I don't know what Dennis had, but it looked good. Aunt Liz's fried fish looked so, so, so good. That food looked really good. That food stole the scene. Moving on. So while this is happening, we're seeing Porsha. She's in her home. She's on the phone with her mother, and she's getting her mother caught up with what happened at the hospital between her and Dennis. Porsha tells her mom, we were really civil. We ordered food together, blah, blah, blah. We were just trying to be there for Pilar. And so she says that Dennis apologized for what happened in Mexico. And Porsha says in her confessional that even though he apologized, she doesn't believe that he really regrets anything that went down in Mexico. And then she told her mom so that was basically that. And then she was she had made breakfast for Pilar, but Pilar wouldn't eat. And so one of the issues that the baby was having was that at the hospital, they stayed a day longer than they were supposed to because after her surgery, Pilar didn't eat and they wouldn't let them go home until she ate. So she finally ate, but then when she came home, Porsha said that she regressed back and she stopped eating again. And so Porsha had made her some food and she really wasn't eating it. So that's going to play a part later on. So then another scene. Porsha invites a chef over to teach her or to show her, I guess to show her how to make Nigerian food. So the lady makes this delicious, feast basically of, all of this Nigerian food. Excuse me, and she wants to make it look like she cooked it for Simon. So when Simon comes home, this is what I want to say about this scene. This is typical Porsha. She always wants to present herself in a way that she really isn't. It's minor, it's not a big deal, but it's a representation of who she is as a person. So she wants to pretend like she cooked this huge meal for Simon, but she really didn't. Just like with everything else about her, she wants to make it look, for example, her and Dennis's relationship. It was blasted all over the internet that Dennis was cheating on her when she was pregnant. But then we find out from Mama Gina that Porsha allegedly had also cheated on Dennis. So she wanted to make it look like she was the poor pregnant fiance whose man cheated on her, but maybe she was also creeping. She wants to make it look like she is, completely heterosexual, but there's stuff that's going on behind the scenes when you can tell that she's clearly not. At the very least, she's bisexual. She wants to make it look like she's just so sweet and so innocent and but then she's chasing people down the alley trying to fight them. She's knocking down Kenya at the reunion. So it's just like there's like multiple sides to Porsha. So Dennis comes home. And, he likes the food. Everything looks good. Everything is delicious. And then he has a surprise for her, y'all. He shows her his final divorce decree. And it is signed by the judge, signed, sealed, delivered. Simon is officially divorced from Fallon. And Simon says that if he had to do it all over again, he would do it the same exact way. Now, that shocked me because I would have been like, you know what? I would have done things a little bit differently. I probably would have waited for my divorce to be final before starting a whole new relationship with someone else. Because Dennis has kids, and I think he's got minor children, children under the age of 18. Slow the hell down. How do you just go from relationship to relationship to relationship? And between Fallon and Porsha, I think there was another chick in between all of that. So anyway, so he's finally divorced. Porsha's happy about it. So we're moving on to the event of the Hosea Williams Fight Hunger opening. So it's this huge building that they have that's going to be the grand opening, and this is going to be the food bank. And everybody was invited, but Porsha couldn't come because of Pilar having to go back to the hospital. Pilar got severely dehydrated. She wasn't eating, and so she had to go back to the hospital. So her and her mom took her back to the hospital, so she couldn't make the opening event. Storm wasn't there, but her mother was. Dennis couldn't make it because of he was in Detroit, and of course Mama Gina wasn't there for whatever reason. So a lot of people didn't show up. The people that were there was Lauren, Londi, Simon came, Storm's mother came, Dawn was there. So it was like a very small group of people that actually showed up. And I thought that was really sad because this is the season finale. And you know, all the season finales on these housewife shows, they all end with some major celebration of some sort. And very few people showed up. So it was like, it was just, you know, it could have been bigger, it could have been better, but it is what it is. And the main focus is that, you know, the building is up and running and they can continue their work in feeding the hungry. So today of the event, okay, all the people that we know didn't attend. So Aunt Liz and Simon get a chance to talk, and Aunt Liz tells Simon, you know, she thanks him for coming. And he was like, "Oh, no worries about that." And he says, Aunt Liz tells him something like, "Thank you for coming, and thank you for allowing Dennis to be who he is." And Simon kind of gives her the side eye, like, what are you talking about? And he tells her, you know, the main focus, really, it's Pilar. We all need to be focused on little PJ. That's who we need to be focused on, not some grown man. And then Simon says, you know, I need to remind Porsha at times that she is the granddaughter of Hosea Williams, so she needs to uphold her legacy. But at the same time, this is what he tells Aunt Liz. He says to her, y'all's the father side of Porsha, y'all need to also remember that she is Hosea Williams' granddaughter, and you need to treat her a lot better, and you need to show her respect. And Aunt Liz was like, okay. And then in her confessional, she's like, who the hell does he think he is? We always treat Porsha good. He's the one that needs to treat Porsha better. And I was like, Aunt Liz, what do you mean by that? Like, he needs to treat Porsha better? Because this whole season, it seems like he treats her like a queen. Give us some more tea on that, Aunt Liz. What do you mean that Simon needs to treat Porsha better? That's interesting. So Pilar gets better. She's out of the hospital. 4 months later, Porsha and Dennis, you know, they decide to meet. So they have this dinner, and they're going to talk about the co-parenting plan. It went south as soon as it started. So Dennis shows up first at the restaurant. Then Porsha shows up, and he pulls the chair out for her, you know, being a real gentleman. And then he asked her, how is your engagement going? And she was like, what do you mean, how's my engagement going? What are you really trying to get at? And he's like, no, how's it going? And she's like, it's fine. And then Porsha says that her and Simon closed on their home and they're going to be moving in soon. And then Dennis asked her, did you ever get your prenup together? And she tells him, it's none of your business. And then he asked her, where do they move to? And she goes, in the city. And he's like, well, you know, the city's pretty big. You know, was it Buckhead? And he starts naming all these different areas of Atlanta, I guess. And then she's like, it's in the city. She wouldn't give him any more information than that. She just kept on saying, it's in the city. So he's like, are you keeping it like some kind of secret or something? Like, what's going on? And she tells him, well, you'll find out soon enough when you come to drop off Pilar. So then Dennis says that Porsha said something about looking for a school for PJ. She says, you know, I'm looking for a school for PJ. And he's like, what do you mean I'm looking? You know, we both need to be involved in this process. And she says, well, okay, I'm scouting some schools for PJ. And Dennis says that Porsha is not acting like this is like a 50-50 arrangement, because she's like, you know, she's the one that's making all the decisions and stuff. So Porsha's whole thing is, well, you're never really around to really make any decisions for her. So yes, I am the one that's making all the decisions for her. And then he says something like, you know, just because you got married and, you know, Pilar lives with you does not mean that, you know, I'm just erased from the picture. I'm her father, and I still have 50% decision-making power, 50% custody or whatever. I need to be involved in everything that she does. And then Porsha says, well, because of her plan for a blended family didn't work out, she and Dennis can now have a brother and sister relationship. She said, I see you now as more like my brother, so we can continue on like you're my brother. And okay, brothers and sisters don't share children together. What the hell do you mean by that, Porsha? So Dennis was like, what do you mean like your brother? Stop painting these false realities. And that's why you will always continue to get these whack results that you're always getting. Stop painting this false reality. You were still with, dating, engaged to, sleeping with a married man. Whatever the relationship was between him and Fallon, that is their business. But technically, legally, they were still married. So stop painting this false reality that, oh, they're not together no more, so I can be with him. Stop it. Dennis is not your brother, Porsha. He is your ex-fiance. He is Pilar's father. Brothers and sisters don't share children. They don't do that. Okay? A sibling may help their sibling raise a child in the capacity of an aunt or an uncle, not in the capacity of the other biological parent or the ex-boyfriend or the ex-fiance or the ex-husband. Stop it. This is your ex-fiance. He's not your brother. There's a big difference. And we all know that you would never treat There's no way you would ever treat Dennis, the way that you treat your other siblings or whatever. There's no way. You show him less respect than you show anybody else. Lord have mercy. Okay, let me calm down. So Porsha says that she wants to talk about their parenting agreement. She's like, she says that she wants to set up a calendar of when they can have the child on whatever days, whatever holidays. And he was like, well, I'm glad you brought that up because I did send you the papers. Did you get a chance to see them? And she's like, no, I haven't seen anything yet. So she wants to have an informal agreement with him with a calendar. And I don't know if she wants to write something out. He's like, I don't want that. Because he knows that if you give Porsha what she wants, she's going to take it and she's going to run with it. And you're not going to be left with any say-so in the matter. So he says, no, what we need to do, we need to go to court. And she's like, are you threatening me with court? Well, why does the judge have to be involved with our parenting agreement? And he's like, that's what I want. I want us to go to court and I want us to get a court order, clearly listing out what our rights are, what your rights are, what my rights are, and, what our responsibilities are. Because having these informal agreements with someone like Porsha, it's not going to work. So she's like, well, you do whatever you want to do. You do whatever you have to do. And so he says that I'm guessing that Dennis wants his rights protected. He doesn't want to be taken advantage of. He doesn't want to be pushed to the side. So he wants to go to court and he wants to get a court order. And I don't know why Porsha saw this as a threat. I mean, to me, I think it's a great idea because y'all are not seeing eye to eye on a lot of things. So there's no way that the two of them can just get together and have their own informal agreement. I don't see that happening. They're like oil and water, these two people. So yeah, what they need to do, they need to go to court and they need to have a judge look at the whole situation and decide what's best for Pilar. Because in family courts, it's always what's in the best interest of the child, not what's in the best interest of Porsha, what's in the best interest of Dennis, what's in the best interest of Simon. It's always in the best interest of the child. So that's what they need to do. They need to have probably shared custody. And that's what they need to do. And so they start arguing back and forth because, they can't agree on this. And then, the food comes and nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. They're like, take this back. We don't want it. And then they're just arguing. They're bickering back and forth. Portia's mad about Dennis wanting to go to court. Dennis is mad about Porsha, just kind of trying to like have her way all the time. And he's like, I'm out of here. So he leaves and she leaves. And it's just like, it all falls apart. And that's where the show ended. It ended with that mess. No resolution, no nothing. But at the very end, when they put the notes on the screen, it says that Dennis and Porsha, they continue to work on their co-parenting plan, but they're cordial. And then it says that Porsha and Simon did move into their home, but they haven't set a date for their wedding. And that's where it all ended. And that's that. So, basically, my overall opinion is that we will never know who the real Porsha is. For some reason, Porsha does not want us to know who she really is, or maybe she doesn't know who she really is. I don't know. But after watching this, I don't get like a warm and fuzzy feeling about Porsha. I think that she hides a lot of who she is. And I don't know why she just can't be free and open. I don't know what was going on in her childhood that taught her that it's better to be secretive and it's better to portray yourself as someone that you're really not. I don't know if she had to like pretend to be someone she's not to make her mom happy or to make her dad happy. You have to pretend that you like this split family situation, maybe when you really don't. I don't know. But somewhere along the line, somewhere in her life, she decided that it's better for me to put up a front and to be someone I'm not when I'm in the public than for people to know who I really am. That's that. That's that. That's that. I don't know how else to say it. She just doesn't want people to know who she really is. She just wants to put up this image of who she thinks people will like. And that's kind of sad. It's really, I'm thinking it's a lot of hard work to live a double life, a triple life, a quadruple life. It's a lot of hard work. But it would be great if the show came back. I wouldn't mind watching it again. It was good. It is what it is. So thank you so much if you made it this far. I really appreciate you. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And then I will definitely talk to you later.